Hey guys, this will be the tier list based on September 21st. We're going to talk about which Pokemon are good or bad in Pokemon Unite. Now, for new players, we are going to recommend Pokemon that don't require much experience while being very strong to use. So we picked Blastoise and Wigglytuff, who can tank and do damage at the same time to be S tier. While Pokemon such as Lucario, Greninja, and Venusaur are C tier because they need a lot of experience to be good Pokemon. Charizard and Zeraora are the strongest Pokemon in a 1v1 situation if they hit their Unite Ultimate, and are very easy to control, so new players would enjoy them very much. Crustle is an RPG Pokemon that only needs to use Stealth Rock to Dreadnought and Zapdos to finish it off with Fluffy Tail. So Crustle is very easy to control and has amazing tank damage potential. Snorlax, Eldegoss, and Blissey are support style Pokemon, which is very low pressure to play, and the Pokemon themselves are quite decent. The Pokemon in S and A rank are easy to play while being very strong at the same time. The Pokemon that are in B rank are Pokemon that are very strong in lane, therefore are good for new players to learn how to play the laning phase while winning, of course. With the strong laning phase these Pokemon provide, you can practice last hitting against enemy Pokemon and learn how to snowball the game. Now, Slowbro is an easy to play support type Pokemon, but his skill sets are quite normal, nothing extraordinary, so he is here instead of being A tier. The Pokemon in rank C are Pokemon that are hard to control, such as Machamp, Greninja, Venusaur, and Lucario. The Pokemon in tier D are Pokemon that are far too weak during the early game and thus might make the players suffer too hard, which can destroy their mentality. Pokemon like Absol and Talonflame are for highly skilled players only. You need a very good understanding of the game and the Pokemon for them to do well, so we can't really recommend these to like a new player. Now we're going to talk about solo queue tier lists. In solo queue, the criteria for good Pokemons are ones that can carry just by themselves. Usually you want to go for a top solo strat where you keep one on top and the other four go bot to contest Dreadnought. For tier S Pokemon, there are Blastoise, Zeraora, Charizard, Greninja, and Crustle. Blastoise can use Fluffy Tail while going center, and with it, he can secure every single Dreadnought and Zapdos by himself. With the combination of Fluffy Tail into Rapid Spin, into Water Spout, and his auto attack same time, he can do at least 50% of Dreadnought's HP in a very short time. With Greninja's Surf and Smokescreen, he can do damage, heal, be mobile, and have amazing survivability at the same time. Greninja is also strong in teamfights and great for last hitting as well. If I can choose only one Pokemon to recommend for solo queue, I would choose Zeraora, guys. Zeraora has strong burst damage while having sustainable damage at the same time. He is also very mobile and can use Score Shield, itemization text, at the same time. So even if you lose the Zapdos fight, you can use Score Shield with his ultimate to score into the enemy base and still win the game regardless. Therefore, Zeraora is strong in team fights, Zapdos fights, 1v1 split pushing fights, making him viable for various playstyles and lacking in none aspects. Charizard. Charizard can beat almost every Pokemon 1v1 and has a very low ultimate cooltime. If Charizard pushes a line by himself, the enemy needs to invest at least 2 people to stop him. Crustle is optimized for proxy gameplay where he uses his high movement speed to steal enemy farm to prevent them from growing, while scoring constantly towards victory. With Fluffy Tail, Crustle can also use his ultimate to burst down Zapdos, which makes him very useful in the final Zapdos fight as well. Now, the Pokemon in rank A has a flaw that prevents them from entering the S rank. For example, Cinderace is a very strong AD carry, however has a very weak early game, which makes it difficult to secure the first Dreadnought. Also, Cinderace needs a good front line to her role as well, so quite unfit for solo queue in that aspect. Since Cinderace cannot just jump in by herself and kill everybody, she needs her teammates to buy her time, making it impossible to solo carry. However, during the Zapdos fight, Cinderace is able to lower the HP of Zapdos and last hit with her ultimate. And with good teammates, her team fight potential is very high, so she belongs in A tier. Now, the biggest weakness of Machamp is that before he hits level 9, he is far too weak. Once he hits 9, he has one of the strongest ultimates in Pokemon Unite. With his high HP and attack damage, and with his movement speed, he can assassinate enemies and goal easily. The reason why he can't go to rank S is because since he doesn't have any burst damage, he is best for last hitting Zapdos or Dreadnought, and is limited, very weak, until he hits level 9. Lucario. Lucario is called an anti-carry Pokemon, where he can use his mobility and last-hitting abilities to steal enemy jungles or farm to prevent them from growing. Since he's so strong after hitting 5, he can even kill enemy junglers in their own jungle and run away. Of course, if you are skilled enough, you will be able to kill the entire enemy's team on your own using extreme speed, but that's only during the early mid-game. At the late game, it is hard to one-shot enemies with Lucario's combo, and he doesn't have enough damage to kill Zapdos by himself, so it can be very difficult to solo carry with Lucario. He's also not a good scorer, so in solo queue I gave Lucario an A rank over S rank. Absol. Absol is one of the hardest Pokemon to play in the game. Absol's weakness is very simple. He is too weak in team fights. If you jump into the enemy that is clumped together, there is no method for Absol to survive without using his ultimate. The reason why this is a problem is when your enemies force a Zapdos fight. Even if you have a good advantage with Absol, he is most likely just going to die. So in the late game, Pokemon that hits and runs like Absol has low Zapdos secure ratios. Absol needs to steal Zapdos with his ultimate or his pursuit, but if you use his pursuit to go into the Zapdos pit, he will most likely die. If you do not have your ultimate for the Zapdos fight, you must go backdooring, so that even if you lose Zapdos, you can win the game by outscoring your opponents. Therefore, since he is weak during the Zapdos fights, we can't give him rank S, but since he is the most mobile Pokemon in Unite and has strong damage, he deserves his spot in rank A. P.S. I am a Master Absol player, mate. Now, we are going to focus on Pokemon that are fairly strong to use. Ninetales provides a strong laning phase to help procure Dreadnought. Wigglytuff is both very tanky and does a lot of damage. A powerful buffer with decent last-hitting potential, Blissey. And Mr. Mime, who is tanky and has strong burst damage. The reason why Venusaur, Pikachu, and Cramoran isn't here is because AP carries are used to secure the first Dreadnought, but can't ever carry by themselves. Especially solo queue, if your team is weak, you will just be swiped alongside with them. Slowbro and Snorlax are very strong Pokemon with good potential, however, they both lack Zapdos last-hit potential, so they aren't that good in solo queue. Talonflame is very mobile and with good last-hitting abilities, but doesn't have decent 1v1 potential and is very squishy. Gengar requires him to hit all his skill shots, which makes it very difficult to do his work. And Eldegoss is just sad in solo queue. Gardevoir and Garchomp can carry hard with the right comp and team, but are far too weak early game, so can't really recommend it to players. Now, for last, we will talk about team ranked. We will talk about D rank Pokemon first before we go in. D rank Pokemon are Pokemon that are far too weak during the early game and thus have the risk of being snowballed. If you can't last hit early game, that means your enemies will and they will outlevel you, which means Dreadnoughts will be theirs, which can continuously snowball in that sense. The only exception here is Absol, but Absol is very weak in teamfights, which prevents him from being used properly. Rank C is similar to Rank D, but with a few more advantages. For example, Venusaur is decent at last hitting late game, but is relatively weak early in lane. Cinderace is strong, but needs a Cinderace-only composition. And Cinderace-only compositions are not the meta right now, meaning it loses to all of the meta comps. Rank B means Pokemon that are good at their roles, but have explicit limitations. Slowbro and Snorlax are okay-ish in lane and is a fine tanker, but have no special advantages whatsoever. Mr. Mime has strong last-hit potential and does decent burst damage, but is melee and not really that mobile. Pikachu has a strong laning phase, but is very squishy and doesn't do that much damage late. Charizard is strong once he evolves, but very difficult to get to that spot. Crustle is strong at objectives and goals, but is weak in lane early. Now, starting from rank A, we can see the Pokemon that always shows up in tournaments or high-ranked teams. Supporters with amazing healing and buff potential, such as Blissey and Eldegoss. Strong laning phase that can help you secure objectives, such as Ninetales and Cramorant. Strong teamfight potential and last hits for Dreadnought or Zapdos fights, such as Zeraora or Greninja. The reason why these A rank Pokemon are not S rank is because the Pokemon that are at S rank are just far too strong. First, let's check out Blastoise. Blastoise. Strong damage, strong objective securement, very tanky, CC immunity, and short cool time on a ridiculously powerful ultimate. Lucario. Lucario is the strongest counter jungle in the game, which can deter enemy growth and buy time for your team. Early mid-game teamfights, he can be stronger than a Surf Greninja and have amazing last hit potential. Wigglytuff. The only AoE CC immunity ultimate in the game. Wigglytuff's passive Cute Charm is far too OP. You can just stand there doing nothing, and that can cancel enemy skills and ultimates. Base stats are high in terms of tank value. All of Wiggly's skills can crit, which provides her with nice last hit potential. And Wigglytuff can also get strong fast at level 4 or 8, which makes her able to carry the game faster than most other Pokemon. Okay, we finally checked the tier list based on new players, solo queue, and team ranked. I will continuously update this information in the future videos to come. Hope you guys enjoy. See you next time.